1 second here. All right, we are now recording, so I'm going to go ahead and get us started. So thank you all for coming today. Just to kind of give you an idea of what we are going to talk about for this afternoon, we're going to go into some activities. And in my mind, we're going to go through these 3 different little sections. So we are going to do some activities to focus on recognition in your body. So how to recognize what you're currently feeling physically, emotionally, mentally. We're going to go through some rejuvenation together. So ways to bring some things back into your body, hopefully give you some better energy going into the rest of your day. And then we're going to close out with some responsibility and just a call to action of where you go forward from here. So I'm really envisioning today to give you all some information, but to really make this a very activity-based session, so you can take some time to do some reflections, either during our time together this afternoon or even later today or throughout the weekend, to really make this time whatever might be most beneficial for you. So to that note, if you have a pen and paper, that would be great. If you have not grabbed one, if you are able to, if you are a more tech person and you want to take notes on your laptop, that's great. If you'd rather use your phone, that's also fine. But it'd be great if you could have something just to kind of take down some notes as we go through our session today. So just to give you a little bit about me, who I am and why I'm doing this webinar this afternoon, I am a current housing professional. I'm an area coordinator at Westchester University in the McCoho region. I was born and bred in the McCoho region. I started off in New Jersey, have been working in housing since the early 2010s. I am a Red Hawk alumni from Montclair State University and have worked my way through a couple of different institutions in the New Jersey and now the Pennsylvania area. And so a lot of my professional background really is grounded in housing. And for me, I am also very passionate about mental health, about spiritual well-being, different aspects of wellness and well-being, and recognizing that currently housing professionals are struggling. I know I am struggling sometimes. It's a really hard time to be working in this field. And so working and focusing on mental health and spiritual well-being is something that has been really impactful for me and my journey and growth over the last few years. And so I'm really thankful for this opportunity to hopefully give you all some tools you can bring back to you in your own personal, professional lives. I am also a Reiki practitioner, and I will talk a little bit more about Reiki towards the end of our session today. I am level 1 and level 2 certified in Reiki and a soon to be Reiki master, concluding that program in April with my current Reiki teacher. And I do also have my graduate certificate in wellness coaching. So these are just personal and professional areas that I'm super passionate about. And I love the opportunities when I am able to kind of blend all of these together into the work that I do on a day-to-day basis. So just to kind of lay some groundwork as well into what to expect from today, I'm really hoping that today can be an introduction to some of you for listening to your mind and to your body, and a chance to take a break, because hopefully you do have some time for that this afternoon. And also that today is whatever you need it to be. If you want to go back and watch this recording at a later time, awesome. If you are taking this with some headphones and maybe you are sitting in a private space or you're at home and taking a break, that's also great. So whatever you need this time to be this afternoon, this hour we have together, that is totally whatever you need it to be. I do also recognize that today will not be a one-size-fits-all approach. If I go over an activity or a prompt and you do not relate to it, that's okay. There are definitely a lot of parts of mindfulness and meditation and Reiki and wellness practices that people might not relate with. So this really is about figuring out what works the best for you. This is also not an attempt to negate any of your current feelings or emotions, or it's also not supposed to be a cure for everything that's currently going on that is overwhelming in our field. I recognize that there are a lot of different factors and things that people are going through right now. And so again, I'm hoping that today can be a tool for you to put into your toolkit and some things to try on your own that might help when things might feel a little overwhelming, or you're just looking for a break to focus on some mindfulness and what's going on in your present moment. So we are going to start off with some intention setting, focusing on what brought you here for today. So a couple of times during our session this afternoon, I am going to shift us into kind of a guided meditation approach. So for our intention setting, I am going to guide us through our first short guided meditation. I'm going to also play some music in the background, just so there's also something else to focus on in between when I am speaking to you all. So go ahead and take a moment just to get yourself comfortable. And in a second, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen is shared. I'm going to share some music in a second and get us started in that capacity. So go ahead and make yourself comfortable. If you have any questions as we go through any of our practices today, I am going to keep my little chat box open. So feel free to go ahead and shoot me a message if you need to as we go ahead and shift into some practices. So as you consider setting your intention for our time together this afternoon, go ahead and close your eyes, get comfortable, whatever that means for you. Breathe in deep through your nose and out slowly through your mouth. Breathe in truth and peace. Breathe out negativity. Breathe in, and as you breathe out and exhale anything not serving you today. Imagine a light surrounding your feet. Maybe it's warm, maybe it's cold. It could be white, yellow, blue, green, anything that comes to mind. Imagine that light traveling from your feet and up through your legs, through your stomach, and up through your chest. Picture it coming around your shoulders and down your arms, shooting out through your fingertips. Feel the light moving up your chest, through your throat, out through the top of your head and your crown, extending out above your body. Take a deep breath and consider what brought you here today. Maybe you wanted to learn something new. You wanted a chance to take a break. Whatever your reason for being here today is, set an intention by making a commitment to yourself. Today I will try something new. Today I will try something for me. Once you have your intention, repeat it to yourself now 3 times. Today I will. Today I will. Today I will. As we move through our practices and our time together this afternoon, if you ever feel like your attention is wandering or you're not sure what to be focusing on, go ahead and come back to your intention and just remember your reason for being here this afternoon and allow that to reground you as we go through the rest of our time together. So as we shift into the next part of our session, you can go ahead and open your eyes if you still have them closed. Maybe have some light movement back to your body, rolling your wrists or your ankles. Just taking a second to honor and reground yourself as we go through the rest of our time together. So I wanted to take a moment just for you all to take some recognition into how you're feeling right now. So maybe you are coming out of a really busy morning. Maybe this is the start of your day. Maybe that little intention setting exercise, although it was short, maybe it helped bring some grounding to you. So take a moment and on your paper, on your computer, on your phone, just check in and take stock of how your body is feeling right now. How are you feeling mentally, emotionally? How are you feeling physically? Are you anxious and you feel some tightness in your chest? Are you tired and maybe you just want to take a nap? Maybe you've been walking around campus and it's also very cold where you are and your face hurts because it's freezing outside. So just take a moment to take stock and check in with your body. And also maybe a question to ask yourself is, what are aspects of your work that may impact how you feel mentally, physically, or emotionally? So I'm going to go ahead and leave these questions up here on the screen just for a moment for you to take some time to check in with yourself. And as you go through, if anybody wants to unmute and share some of your thoughts or your reactions or post any thoughts in the chat, you are totally welcome to do so as an opportunity to share with the group and just check in with how you're feeling today. So I'm going to give you just a few minutes to do some of this reflection. All right, so I'm going to move us along to our next slide. Again, if anybody wants to share, please feel free to go ahead and do so. But so thinking about, again, that intention and thinking about how you're feeling today, there are a couple of different breathing techniques that can be helpful if you find like your mind is wandering, or maybe you're just going through your day to day and you don't know how to reground yourself. You're looking for some quick exercises that could be helpful for you. So there are a couple of different breathing techniques that I'm going to go through. And before I do that, I see Kevin posted some thoughts in here that you're feeling grounded, a little empty mentally, and physically. You realize you're present in a space, and that's a really good feeling. I love that, Kevin, and I also love the kind of antithesis of feeling empty, but also recognizing where you are. Definitely doing some grounding will continue to help that. So I hope that you continue to feel grounded as we go through the rest of your session. Thank you so much for sharing. And so when you think about grounding, or you think about how you might be feeling in a space, these are 3 really common and easy breathing techniques that you can utilize. And so we're going to take a moment just to go through those together. So box breathing is the first one that we'll go through. Box breathing is pretty easy to remember because there's 4 sides of a box, and box breathing goes in counts of 4. So if you ever want to utilize box breathing, you're going to breathe in for a count of 4, hold it for a count of 4, breathe out for a count of 4, and hold it again for a count of 4. And we'll try that together in 1 second. Petey says he's mentally open to try things that are good for him, physically exhausted, but not at his breaking point. Petey, I can completely empathize and understand probably how you're feeling today, especially after your duty week. I know Petey's coming off a duty week. So definitely open to trying some things that might help you out with some of that and help make you feel a little bit more energized going into the rest of your week. Thank you. So let's go ahead and try some box breathing together. So I will go through and give you a quick prompt, and you're just going to count along in the count that I'm going for. So again, our box breathing, we're going to do counts of 4. So you're going to breathe in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, breathe out, 2, 3, 4, and hold, 2, 3, 4. Again, breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, and hold, 2, 3, 4. I know you couldn't fully see my hands, but I like to literally trace a box as I go through and do box breathing. That just makes it a little bit easier for me. Yoga breathing and equal breathing are also two different types of breathing that focus on counts. So with yoga breathing, you would breathe in for a count of 4, hold it for a count of 6, and breathe out for a count of 8. Equal breathing is exactly what it sounds like, where you are just going to make sure that your counts breathing in match your counts breathing out. So if you're counting to 5 when you breathe in, you want to count out to 5 breathing out. So those are 3 really common and simple breathing techniques that you can utilize. Again, if you ever feel like your mind is buzzing or you're just trying to get yourself to focus, those are 3 really quick and easy techniques that you can use anytime and anywhere. However, I do want to make a note that if you hated that, if you are like, I cannot count my breaths, I am not breathing in those counts, I can't make my body do that. Some people actually react and are more anxious when they have to count their breathing. So if counting your breathing is not a great exercise for you, that is totally fine. One easy way to anchor yourself that does not have to do with the actual count of breaths is simply focusing in and paying attention to the physical sensation of your breath coming in and out of your lungs. So if you want some quick grounding and some quick anchoring, but you are anxious thinking about keeping up with the counting, just go ahead and focus directly on the physical sensation of that breath coming in and out. So one thing I wanted to make sure we also could highlight is taking some stock and recognizing what it is that you are feeling. If that was a really hard exercise for you to identify what you physically or mentally are feeling right now, there are a lot of different resources to help you recognize what are the emotions that you're feeling. And what I'm going to talk about next is also how those emotions can physically manifest in your body and actually show up for you physically, and how it can have a physical impact on your body as well. I am somebody who loves Brene Brown. I know she's fairly big in our line of work. I know I've read a lot of her books over the years with my staff, and one of her new books, Atlas of the Heart, I really appreciated how she took some time to really define what different emotions mean, and really define how we can put words to those emotions. And so one thing that I think was the most helpful for me to think about is some of the differences between being stressed, overwhelmed, and avoidance. And so when you think about your own emotions and you think about your own mental state, it's really helpful to make sure that you're able to identify what kind of level am I at right now? Am I a little bit stressed, but I am still able to function in my day-to-day life? Am I getting closer to being overwhelmed and I'm kind of struggling to complete tasks? Maybe I'm putting off doing my schoolwork if I'm in grad school. Maybe I'm putting off doing tasks like doing the dishes or putting away my laundry. Are there things that are physically being impacted where you are not able to actually function or do your day-to-day tasks? Avoidance is when you also get into the territory of, am I watching Netflix because I want to relax a little bit? Or am I watching 9 hours of Netflix because I want that as an outlet and I don't want to focus on anything else whatsoever? So being able to articulate and identify, put words to how you're actually feeling is going to be a great first step for you in identifying what you might actually need that could be helpful for you in a mental space. And so another important thing, like I mentioned, is thinking about the physical ways in your body that things like stress, anxiety, grief, these really heavy emotions, how are they going to show up in your body for you? So up on the screen, you'll see some of just the most common ways that these can physically manifest in your body. Usually it's going to be centered around the areas like your brain, your heart, and your stomach. So maybe you're having some indigestion problems. Maybe you have a lot of breakout going on or just uneven, glossy skin. Maybe you notice that you're getting sick a lot, or you're getting cold sores around your mouth. There are a lot of different ways that these things can physically show up in your body. A lot of different practices, especially in Eastern medicine that like slowly are making their way to Western medicine, focus on different parts of your body called the meridians. If you're familiar with something like acupuncture, acupuncture is something that also focuses on the idea of meridians, where it's focusing on the different parts of your body, your physical organs, and how they're going to connect to other things. So that's where the idea of acupuncture comes in, where if you put pressure on a certain point, usually like your hands and your feet are very common places, where if you put pressure on a certain point or a certain joint area, it's going to connect back to a different organ and a different part of your body. So thinking about how all of these things come together is really important in identifying, am I having stomach problems because I'm super overwhelmed right now? And if the answer is yes, how can I combat that? And how can I bring practices into my day-to-day life to help combat that a little bit? So again, just really important to consider how stress and other emotions that are perceived to be negative being negative emotions always happen, but is it again getting you to that overwhelmed point? Are you having a bad emotion, like a bad reaction? You're sad, you're upset, you're angry. You're always going to feel those emotions. But if it's getting to that point of being overwhelmed and you're feeling it physically in your body, you may want to recognize and have some of those mindfulness practices that we'll talk about so you can combat some of those things into your day-to-day practices. So like I said, the big portion of what I wanted to spend some time doing this afternoon is talking a little bit about where do you go from here? We recognize that things are stressful. I think we kind of have a multitude of different positions that are here today in our little Zoom. I know we have some grad students here, we have some professionals here. And so all of you are doing very different levels of work, and all of that work is very stressful. So recognizing that there are things that you might want to incorporate in so that you are able to balance all of those different hats that you might be wearing. It's not easy, and this is not going to be a cure-all, but these are some great ways to start to identify what could be the most helpful for you. So one thing just to kind of quickly highlight is thinking about the ideas of mindfulness and meditation. Those two words typically are used interchangeably, but they actually are not synonyms for each other. So when you're thinking about these different practices, meditation is a practice. One of the things that we are going to do, our intention setting, that kind of was a meditation practice. I am going to lead us through a different guided meditation in a few minutes. So a meditation is an actual practice that you would do, where mindfulness is more of a quality or a state. You're being focused, you are in the moment, and you are aware. Meditation focuses more on that concentration. So you are setting aside time in your day, a time like this, to actually have an activity or an exercise to specifically meditate and have a period of meditation. Mindfulness can be at any time, meditation can as well, but with mindfulness, it is mostly, in a nutshell, being focused, being present, and knowing what's actually going on around you in the current moment in time. So I put a couple examples on here as well of activities. With mindfulness, 3 of the most common exercises that I've seen for mindfulness exercises would be mindful walking, mindful eating, and journaling. Mindful walking being maybe you are walking on a different path on campus that you do not typically walk down. Maybe you don't go there often. Maybe it's a part of campus that you are just not used to. Maybe it's a place around your home, a new park that you found, and you're really taking some time to disconnect and pay attention to just what's around you with all of your senses as you walk. So if you're walking through a park, what are all of the things at that time that you are seeing, you're smelling, you're hearing, you're feeling? Is it cold outside? Can you feel the ground under your feet, or are you wearing shoes? What are the different things that you hear? Can you smell flowers if it's springtime? So really taking the time to be very intentional at acknowledging all of your different senses at that current point as you go through a very simple task like walking. Mindful eating is another common exercise. I've seen this one with blueberries or chocolate chips. And so basically with mindful eating is taking a moment to take something like a very, very, very tiny item, like a blueberry, a chocolate chip, and before actually eating it, paying attention to how it feels in your hand. What are the physical aspects that you notice? Is the blueberry purple? Is it blue? Is it a little green? Is it ripe? Is it soft? So all of those things that on a normal day to day that we might not take the time to notice, and really paying attention to what you're consuming in your body before you actually do it. And then any type of journaling as well is always a really great mindfulness practice. With meditation, there are 1,000 different kinds of meditation. I personally am somebody who likes guided meditation. I like to have somebody give me prompts of what to visualize as I'm going through and meditating. Loving kindness meditation is actually the meditation practice that we're going to do in a few minutes. So I'm going to walk us through that in another few moments. And anchoring is another type of meditation where you are focusing on a thing. Maybe that thing is a crystal, it's a fidget toy. Maybe it is music, it's a song. Maybe you have a mantra, a saying you like to repeat to yourself. Anchoring is a really great kind of meditation where you can focus on a very specific thing to help keep you anchored and grounded as you try to go through a meditation practice for yourself. So the other thing to think about is also Reiki. I know I mentioned in the beginning that I am a Reiki practitioner. And if you're unfamiliar with what that means, Reiki in a nutshell is a form of energy healing that originated in Japan. It eventually came over to the United States right around the time of World War II. It went through Hawaii right around Pearl Harbor. So it wasn't a great time for different Japanese practices to come into the United States. But Dr. Usui is the kind of the father of Reiki, and he brought it over eventually into the United States with one of his students, and it has continued to evolve that practice over the last 50, 60 years or so that it has been in the United States as it has kind of gone westward and originating in the very east. And so the idea of Reiki also comes from, you can be in person, you can be at a distance. When you go through different Reiki trainings, there is distance Reiki. And so that is how I'm also able to facilitate a session like this and still kind of perform Reiki and give Reiki over a distance via Zoom. And some practitioners may choose to do it with laying their hands on, and some may choose to hover. So if you are ever receiving Reiki in person, typically you're going to be on something like a massage table if you are in person. And some practitioners, again, will choose to have hand placements to help guide energy. And some will tend to just kind of hover over the area that they are focusing on. And so I like to tell people, I am not a healer, I am a helper. The purpose of Reiki is to help send energy to where it needs to go and to help that get to where it needs to be in your body. And so anytime that you are receiving Reiki or you're practicing meditation, you're practicing mindfulness, there is nothing that you need to specifically be doing. Essentially, it is making sure that your mind is open to receiving Reiki, to receiving positive energy, to being present, to being mindful. And so recognizing what your body may need as well. If you feel like you have to move your leg, moving around or shifting around is not going to impact anything when you're doing something like meditation, Reiki, or mindfulness. If your mind is wandering, you can always come back to an intention that you've set, focusing on some breathing or some any ways just to make sure that you can continue to acknowledge that your mind has wandered and then come back into the current moment. And so in a moment, I am going to mute myself. I'm going to share some music, and I also am going to talk us through a meditation that will be a little bit longer than the intention setting exercise that we did. So this is going to be like a big kind of chunk of the remainder of our time together. I want to give us some time to really get into this meditation. We are going to do a loving kindness meditation. I know we're coming out of things like Galentine's Day and Valentine's Day, focusing all about loving and appreciating the people that are around you. So I'm going to walk us through a loving kindness meditation that's going to focus a little bit on those positive relationships in your life. So you can make yourself comfortable, whatever that means for you. I put down here on the bottom, I'm going to keep this screen up throughout that time. If you feel like you're finding it difficult to focus, I re-put those breathing exercises down at the bottom, and I will keep this up on the screen just as a reminder in case you need some guidance as we go through the rest of our time together. If you have any questions as we go through, or you have any questions before we start, feel free to send me a private message via Zoom. That's totally fine. I do still have my chat up. So if you have any questions as we go through, please feel free. But I'm going to go ahead and shift us into a little bit of a meditation practice. And I also will be sending some Reiki along the way as well. So I also will be sending you all some energy as a group and individually as we go through our time together this afternoon. So go ahead and take a moment just to make yourself comfortable, and I'm going to get us ready to shift into our final longer practice. Go ahead and close your eyes, or just unfocus your gaze if you don't want your eyes fully closed. Sit comfortably with your feet on the ground, with your spine straight. If you prefer to be lying down, that's also perfectly fine. However you can be comfortable today. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Take a moment to focus on your breath, feeling it fill your belly. If you find it difficult to follow the instructions from this meditation, that's totally okay. Try to remain present, relax, and gently push yourself to follow the directions. With your eyes closed, picture a person close to you who loves you very much. It could be someone from the past or the present, a family member, a friend, anyone you have connected with. Imagine that person standing on your right side, sending you their love. That person is sending you wishes for your safety, for your well-being, and your happiness. Feel the warm wishes and love coming from that person towards you. Now, bring to mind another person who cherishes you deeply. Imagine that person standing on your left side, sending you wishes for your wellness, for your health, and your happiness. Feel the kindness and warmth coming to you from that person. Now, imagine that you are surrounded by all of the people who love you and have loved you. Picture all of your friends and loved ones surrounding and embracing you. They're sending you wishes for your happiness, your health, and your well-being. Bask in the warm wishes and love coming from all sides. Imagine that you are filled and overflowing with warmth and with love. Now bring your awareness back to the person standing on your right side. Begin to send the love that you feel back to that person. Just like you, this person wishes to be happy. Send all of your love and warm wishes to that person. Repeat the following phrases to yourself, directed at your person. May you live with ease. May you be happy. May you be free from pain. Now focus your awareness on the person standing on your left side. Begin to direct the love within you to that person. Send all your love and warmth to that person now. Repeat the following phrase silently. Just as I wish to, may you be safe. May you be healthy. May you live with ease and happiness. Now expand your awareness and picture the whole globe in front of you like a little ball. Send warm wishes to all living beings on the globe who, like you, want to be happy. Imagine everyone in this Zoom call and send those well wishes in their direction. Repeat the following to yourself. Just as I wish to, may you live with ease. May you live with happiness. May you live with good health. Take another moment and feel this positive energy surrounding you now. Take a deep breath in and breathe out slow. Take another deep breath in through your nose. And as you breathe out, sigh loudly and release everything you're holding now. When you're ready, you may want to add some light movement back to your body. Maybe give a nice roll of the ankles, roll of the wrists, a big morning stretch if you need one there. Anything to go ahead and ground yourself back into our current moment. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. And before I move us along to the end of our time together this afternoon, take a moment just to go ahead and write down a word or a phrase that you're feeling now. Maybe it's a reaction to that meditation. Maybe something came up for you physically. Or maybe just a word to describe how you're feeling. Take a moment and write that down now. Again, if you'd like to share in the chat, that's totally fine. If you also would like a moment for a private reflection, that's also great. Just make sure you're leaving that space for yourself to have a quick reflection and check-in. So now that we've had some time to explore just a little bit of meditation and Reiki, for the final piece of thinking about responsibility, thinking about those next steps from here, is there something that has called to you, something that worked well for you? Again, maybe it's a type of meditation, maybe it's a mindfulness activity you want to try, maybe you want to learn more about Reiki, or going into any of the other mindfulness and spirituality options. Lots of things I could walk you through if you're interested. But so thinking about taking responsibility, take a moment to write a statement for yourself. So what is one promise you are going to leave today with? Maybe it's just that once a week, you're going to try a new meditation. Or once a week, you are going to call somebody that's important to you and just talk to them, have a check-in, tell them how you feel and you care about them. Maybe it is, I'm going to actually take a whole meal break. Maybe I'm not going to work on answering emails during my lunch or my dinner or my breakfast. Whatever that statement for yourself is, go ahead and both write down that statement as well as somebody that you think can hold you responsible for that goal of yours. So maybe it is a coworker, or colleague, or a peer. Maybe it's your best friend, your parents, a partner, significant other, somebody in your life that you're comfortable telling today, I'm going to achieve this goal and I want you to make sure and hold me accountable to what I am telling myself I'm going to do. If I want to meditate once a week, can you check in with me on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. and make sure that I have done my meditation? So whatever that goal of yours might be, write down someone who can also hold you accountable for that goal. And as you're also thinking about a reflection, and maybe this is a reflection that you take with you through the rest of your day, what else can fill your toolkit? If the practices we did today worked for you and you want to keep exploring with those, that's awesome. If you're interested in learning about other things like sound healing, acupuncture I talked about, chakras and other energy systems in your body. There are so many ways for you to tune into your body and what you need, and to connect your mind, your spiritual mind, into your physical body. So what are the things that make you feel good? And what are the things that can fill your toolkit? Maybe it's a bigger religious spiritual practice. Maybe it's reading a book or going out to eat, rewarding yourself by going shopping. Whatever other things can fill your toolkit, take some time to identify what those might be. Petey says he's feeling complete. I like that, Petey. Thank you. All right. And so as you think about these reflections, if anybody wants to share what their goal is or their takeaway is, again, feel free to go ahead and pop that in the chat, because we can also have a little accountability group right here, just to see what you're thinking of as your next steps, what you'd like to take away from our time together today. And so as you wrap up that part, I wanted to take a moment as well just to put some resources up here for you. We do still have a few minutes together, so if you'd wanted to ask any questions or things, we can chat into that. But I did want a chance to go through some different resources and some things that might be helpful for you as well. And I'll come back, Kevin, I see your goal. If anybody else wants to share theirs, I'm going to go through some resources, and then I'll come back to sharing what some of our goals were. So I put a couple of the books that I've referred to. I know I mentioned Atlas of the Heart by Brene Brown. That is like a very simple and quick read, but a great way if you're looking to identify some different ways to define your emotions. Full Catastrophe Living by Jon Kabat-Zinn. That is a great resource. Jon Kabat-Zinn, he kind of founded and created a program called mindfulness-based stress reduction. So if you are very into or interested in mindfulness, MBSR, or mindfulness-based stress reduction, might be a great option for you. The main program focuses out of UMass Amherst. They also have a program through Brown University and like a couple other institutions where they actually have programs where you can take a course in MBSR to learn more about mindfulness practices. And actually, when the pandemic first started, when COVID first hit 2 years ago, I actually had just started an MBSR course literally a month before COVID started. So that was a really great practice for me, and definitely a really great resource if you're interested in that. Some of the other books down here are also really great options if you're just interested in kind of learning a little bit more or where to get started. If you are interested in thinking about different forms of energy or your chakras, Wheels of Life is a great option to get you accustomed to those things, and just some different resources for you. If you are interested in staying connected with me, my contact information is up here. I am going to be hosting a level 1 class for Reiki this summer. So if you are interested in joining that class or learning more about that, feel free to go ahead and scan that QR code and fill out that Google form that's going to come up for you, just answering some questions about your general preferences as I create and prepare for that class to come. So feel free, if you wanted to stay connected or utilize any resources that I have, please feel free to go ahead and do so. I do also do private and group sessions. So if you are interested in bringing a practice to your staff or just you in your personal life, please feel free to go ahead and connect with me via email or my website. And I'm happy to also go into more depth for you, knowing that today we very much so scratched the surface of a lot of different areas that we could focus on. And so Kevin says, my goal is to remember who I am and who I am not, and to realize that I can define that by how I act and how I think about things. I love that, Kevin. Petey says, I plan to use the days that I don't go to the gym to meditate instead of not doing anything that benefits the mind and body. I love that too, Petey. That is great. And also I would also reflect back to you too that some days you might not want to do anything with your mind and body, and that also is okay. Or even if your mental practice for the day is like a 1.5 minute check-in with yourself, that's all you need to do. And thank you, Christy. I think she just popped off, but thank you, Christy. Awesome. Well, are there any questions that any of you have before we kind of close out and wrap up for our time together this afternoon? No? All right. Well, I am going to stop our recording here. Stop our share.